Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers here today. I'm Fiona Langsharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Welcome to all of you joining us here today. It's so good to have you back, and I am delighted to be sitting down with one of our very special speakers who's going to be with us for our upcoming Gold Lactation Online Conference. Please welcome everyone, Maxine Scringer-Wilkes. She is going to be here talking as part of our add-on package, translating knowledge into practice, creating effective lactation care plans. And Maxine is going to be talking about walking with NICU families through their infant feeding journey. Welcome, Maxine. It's so good to have you here today.
Well, thank you so much, Fiona, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on Gold.
And I have to say, of course, Maxine and I know each other and even live a little close, well, not really
Yeah.
close, but in the same province in Alberta. And we've had the pleasure of usually we meet up at face-to-face conferences
Yes,
when the timing is right, of course. But we're here today, and I have to say, when we get together, Maxine, it's certainly like we're on fire.
it is.
We're passionate about what happens
We
in
sure
this
are.
field, and
We are.
we love what we do. So why don't you go
Yes.
ahead and introduce yourself, tell people a little bit where you are in the world and what you do.
Yes, so I am in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I am a lactation consultant and I work at a children's hospital here, primarily in the NICU. And we also serve families within our hospital that have any breastfeeding interruptions. We also see outpatient parents and babies who are experiencing any kind of feeding disruption or failure to thrive, any kind of breastfeeding, lactation related concerns. It also includes cardiac clinic, which are oftentimes our ex-NICU babies, uh, respiratory clinic, cleft palate clinic. So we're all over the hospital, and
Oh.
I really enjoy that part of my work.
Oh, I love that,
Yeah,
Maxine. As soon as you
that's
say
great.
cardiac babies, I am a mom of a boy who has
Oh,
congenital heart disease. And of course, I can put myself right there. I was
yes.
essentially in the hands of, men and women who served me well when I was in the NICU. And I am so eternally grateful. So, no, I know you know this, but I'm just going to say, hey, Maxine, you're changing lives every day. And so,
Ah,
and for folks like myself who ended up being part of the NICU, I'm truly grateful for the journey. When I look back, it gives me chills
aw,
because when we graduate as mamas and papas from the NICU, it's a huge event, right? So
it
I'm
really
I'm
is.
very grateful,
It
very
really is.
grateful.
It's
So
really,
thank you to
well,
you for all your work.
we really enjoy what we do. It's a pleasure to work with families and to really help you along this journey. So,
Yeah,
mhm,
absolutely. Well, we were talking offline about the passion that we have for, this particular area for the fragile,
mhm.
infants, but also families. Of course, we know they're vulnerable and fragile as well. And I know that you're working with them hand in hand to improve that journey. And, as they sort of get into this, and I know part of your presentation is going to address that. But we were also talking about, how some of the research has been, there's lots of research going on for NICUs internationally around the world. I feel like the
Yes.
last 10 years, it's really kind of taken off. But prior to that, it seemed to be very slow. Now, Maxine, from your experiences, is that something that you feel there's a better momentum today overall, better recognition in what's happening in the NICUs?
Well, yes, definitely there is. I think no longer, we thought, well, is health better with breast milk or formula? But now it's not up for debate anymore. We just know it is. It's well proven.
Right.
It is evidence-based. We see the differences. We see the health outcomes
Mm,
in any child that has received breast milk for their diet. And so there's also maternal health benefits too, and the importance to maternal health. So it's more about population health and
mhm.
ensuring the future health of our nation. So yes, it's really important. And we do know what we do in research. It takes many years for it to get into practice, but I think
Right.
some of that gap is being shortened now.
Yeah, which is good. And that's interesting too, because there's been a lot of conversation about research and how long it takes to get into place. But this year of being in a pandemic has changed a
Yes,
lot of that as well.
true.
And so people are sort of, there's a lot of buzz on the street talking about research and how quickly we can put things into practice. But
Mhm,
one foot in front of the other is still, of
true.
course, what we have to do as well. Now, I have a question for you. This came up actually with one of our presenters the other day, and I wanted to get your take on it. It was really working with families at the end of the day and knowing that, yes, we know that ultimately the best food for human babies is human milk. But how do we address that when those families come in? They're very fragile. Things have gone maybe really terribly wrong. This is a brand new situation they're in, and we do want them to provide milk for their infant because we know it will ultimately could be life saving. But how do we start that conversation with them? Do you have an opportunity to sit with families and walk them through and guide them in that way?
I do. I do have the opportunity, and I really love having that opportunity with
Hmm.
families. It's really about educating them, sharing the knowledge with them, giving them information because families are hungry for information.
Right.
They sometimes don't know. And if they truly need to make an informed decision,
Hmm.
then they need to know what they're saying yes to and what they're saying no to on both
Right.
sides of every argument. So um, or every concern or challenge or decision they need
Sure.
to make, we do want to give them the information. So with women or parents in the NICU, it's about walking with them and just developing that relationship right
Mm.
from the start, taking that opportunity to really engage, get to know them, and helping them along the way to make decisions.
Oh wow. Yeah. And when you talk about those things that, inspire me too, it is about those relationships, and I know that it's a big trust as well. There's a
Yes.
lot of trust that come into play in this whole place. But we were talking about some of the guilt that can happen if a parent doesn't feel they can keep up with the demand of producing, or the concerns that we know that actually happen prior to even breastfeeding little ones is it's always a worry. Am I going to make enough milk? What if I don't? Am I going to be
Yes.
the person that holds all the cards to this? So, are there some of those conversations that happen too?
Oh, definitely. There are many those conversations. And I think the value of milk, and it's sometimes not all or nothing. And so it's any amount of milk. Every drop counts. We've heard that
Mm,
many times.
yeah.
And so but really making those early connections so that she can do the best she can so that we don't miss those windows of opportunity.
Mm,
There's some of those key areas and key conversations that need to happen. And so if we don't see a mom for a few days, I will give her a call to say, how are you doing? Haven't, I introduce myself and ask her, what her goals are and what is she doing to meet those goals?
aw.
So
Oh,
sometimes it's not always face to face, but it's connecting over the phone
sure.
and saying, I really look forward to meeting you when you get here. I'm Maxine, and but I just want to see, are you able to do hand expression yet? Are you, and just planting those seeds as well,
Mm,
and trying to um, help move the milk in the first 3 days, which we know is future milk making abilities. The work you
sure.
do then, you really see it later on. So we try not to miss those important times.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear some of the pressure that happens, when an infant is first brought into the NICU, the pressure that the staff are under, the parents are under, and how we can sort of help to move things forward. So I can just see you now, Maxine, sitting with
Yes.
the family, being super calm, and but
Yeah.
yet really wanting to get that point
Yes.
across.
Yes. Because you're right. There's a lot of pressure when the child comes in with whatever
Mm-hmm.
health concern,
Sure.
challenge is going on. And so the focus is really there. And so sometimes it can be a missed opportunity. And so I really just want 10 minutes to plant the seed and give a little hand expression kit and ask to please do this really low tech maneuver,
Right.
every 3 hours, just kind of do this, get things moving and, talk about hands replacing the baby and just sort of really get things off to a good start because if we don't, then we've missed an opportunity.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it's about when we move, when the baby is now into the NICU, it's about opportunity. Every moment can count,
Hmm.
essentially, when we're working with them. Well, this just gives me goosebumps because it just reminds me about the critical timelines that we're working with, and
Yes.
how, there's a lot of conversation in the lactation field about not having enough time. And you're
Mm.
literally sometimes down to minutes. You have minutes to share important information, and so I always say it's always possible. It's about the delivery. It's about
It
how our
is.
presence is with the parents. So I'm always keen to hear these stories, honestly, because it inspires me to know we can make a difference no matter how
Yes,
much time we have.
we
We
sure
can do
can.
it. We
I
can do it.
agree.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's talk just briefly here about anyone that's listening in right now. We're going to direct them quickly to the website, to goldlactation.com. Our conference is starting up right away here, March 29th. And Maxine is going to be here as part of a recorded package. So you will be able to listen to her presentation right away as part of your convenience. So you'll be able to come and enjoy the presentation, Walking with NICU Families Through Their Infant Feeding Journey. Also, Maxine will be available on the forum. So if you've got any questions that you want to chat with her about her presentation, or just talk about, what her experience is in the community as well. Before I let you go, Maxine, speaking of community, I know you're very engaged in the community. Perhaps you just want to share just a few things that you have been doing recently.
Sure. I'm also the chair of Alberta Breastfeeding Committee, and I'm also the secretary of Breastfeeding Committee for Canada.
Mm,
So on ABC, we're planning a spring conference with the lovely Kathleen Kendall Tackett. And so
lovely.
you can go on our ABC website, and she's going to be speaking about some amazing topics that I think we can all learn from and use with working families.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and thank you for just always giving back to the community. It's always good to
My
see you and
pleasure.
be part of that as well here in Alberta. And thank you to our
Thanks.
viewers here today. Thanks for joining us once again. Don't forget, you can come and join us live at our conference. Starts on March 29th. Goldlactation.com, and Maxine's presentation will be up as part of our one of our add-on packages as well, which you can find on the delegates dashboard. Thank you again to Maxine for being with us here today. And of course, to all our viewers, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye,
Thank you.
folks.